Welcome to a new episode of Hollywood Update on Central Spotlight. I'm Caroline Powers.
And I'm Sarah Roebuck.
And we have a recap of last night's 87th Academy Awards show. Neil Patrick Harris opened the show with his first time hosting the Academy Awards. I think he did a pretty good job.
Yeah, I thought it was one of the best openings for the Oscars that in my lifetime that I've ever seen.
Neil Patrick Harris is a performer, so I feel like he can really grab the audience's attention. He sings, he dances, he stripped.
Yeah, that was a bit much, just a little bit. And I was like scrolling through Twitter because I was live tweeting, and one of our news editors looks over and he goes, "What the heck?" And I was like, "Oh yeah, Neil Patrick Harris doing his thing."
It's just one of those things where you never know what's going to happen in Hollywood.
Yeah, definitely. And I really liked how the digital part of the stage went with all of his moves. It really added to the whole thing. And then a lot of people didn't know Anna Kendrick was supposed to be Cinderella from Into the Woods.
Right.
And I was like, they were like, "What is she supposed to be, Belle?" And I was like, "No, she's Cinderella," because that was her exact costume she wore in Into the Woods. So that was a hit or miss opening, I guess. But I thought it was really good.
They had a pretty rainy red carpet.
Oh yeah, that's what they said. It finally rained in California the day of the Oscars.
On the red carpet, so there were umbrellas everywhere and people running for cover. But one of my favorite parts that I saw on the red carpet was Chris Kyle's wife was there for him, paying tribute for American Sniper, and she was holding his dog tags.
Oh, gosh,
and I thought that was
really
a little bit of a heart puller there.
Yeah, that's really sad.
So that was good to see. I wish they went home with more Oscars, but I was proud they got the sound editing one.
Yeah, and I mean, with sound editing, as I was kind of mentioning, it's really hard to try and get the whole guns and the ambient noise of being out there without actually being to war is pretty intense. So I thought it was a pretty well-deserved win for that one, definitely. But Whiplash won for sound mixing.
Yep.
And sound mixing is how you put everything together, and it's because sound editing is all about making your own sounds, but sound mixing is how you put it together. And Whiplash was all about drums and beats and everything, so it was really interesting.
It was great to see J.K. Simmons go home with an Oscar, too,
yeah.
a Detroiter, so always exciting, and Whiplash took a few home.
Yeah, I'm not surprised that it did, because it was a pretty artsy sort of film. It was very much Oscar material, but J.K. Simmons was definitely the best in that category, and his speech was just... It was amazing. He talked about how you shouldn't just text or call your parents. You shouldn't email them. You should call them. So he's like, right after this, I'm going to go and call my parents and thank them. And like, especially, he said, if your parents are alive, like, just take the few minutes to call them.
There were a lot of, that was one of the very moving moments at the Oscars. John Legend and Common's performance of Glory from Selma, I think, had a lot of viewers and audience members in tears. Yeah. Oprah was crying.
Definitely. Chris Pine was crying.
Exactly. So just one of those things where it kind of shows what I like about those nights is it's full of comedy, drama, awards. Obviously, people might go home a little heartbroken, but everyone comes together in Hollywood to celebrate all the work they've done.
And it was a great performance. They're very talented, so I was really glad they won the Oscar.
I agree.
I was getting nervous because I thought they had said somebody else, and I was like, why? And then I was like, oh, wait, there's John Legend getting up. They won, okay.
They fully deserved it. Shocked by Lady Gaga's performance last night.
I know, and she looked normal.
Like, exactly. No crazy costumes, no big up hairdos or anything like that. She had a gorgeous gown on.
Things that she usually
She had the red gloves on at the red carpet, and everyone was making fun of those.
And she looked like, they were like Barnacle Man.
Exactly, from SpongeBob.
Yes, that's what they looked like, because they like kind of came out at the ends, and it was just a little out there. But
she paid a great tribute to the wonderful Julie Andrews.
Oh, gosh.
And I think everyone was blown away by her performance, and shocked, too, because, like we were saying, she hasn't really been around these past couple of years.
Yeah, and she's known for her pop music, so that was probably a shock to a lot of people. But I know, like, she has awesome pipes. She's very good at singing, so that was great. And then Julie Andrews got up and was like, "Thank you for the splendid performance, all Julianne Moore. And it was just
She's
really
great.
She was really adorable. So it was great.
Overall, I was very happy with the 87th Academy Awards.
Me too. I was a little shocked to see Birdman take home the big Best Picture, but it was kind of nice because like the achievements that film has made, the cinematography, everything about it was really well thought out. And I saw a tweet from someone that writes for BuzzFeed, and they're like, "This is what your Best Picture or Best Screenplay winner was," and it said something like, I don't know if you've seen Birdman, but basically it was the part where he's talking to his daughter, who's played by Emma Stone, and she's talking about, "Hey, Dad, you're a trending topic," and he's like, "What's a trending topic?" And I was like, this movie is more relatable than a lot of movies, and I kind of like Michael Keaton plays this washed-up actor who turned down a third Birdman film and all this stuff, so I just thought it was like a very straightforward and realistic movie, which is why it was so nice to see it win. And they did a lot of long tracking shots, so it made it seem like the whole movie was done in one shot, which is insanely hard to do. So I was glad overall that
it's
film
those
was
talented films that you're happy to see take home the awards.
Definitely. And when Eddie Redmayne was called for Best Actor, I cried.
One of your favorite movies.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Theory of Everything is definitely, it might be my favorite movie. It was just such, as I talked about last week, it's a very beautiful film, and I thought he did a great job portraying someone who has ALS, and it's very hard to play a handicapped person like that. And he just did a phenomenal job. He met with Stephen Hawking and met with his wife to make sure he was doing it correctly. Kind of like what Bradley Cooper did for American Sniper, but it was just like a lot more evident with Eddie Redmayne, and part of it probably was the disability played a big part, but he definitely deserved the Oscar.
Well, like I told you, it's one of my top priorities to rent this week.
Right, good, because it's definitely it's very, it doesn't move very fast, but I kind of liked that about the movie, so, and it really gives you a sense of what Stephen Hawking was like growing up. Well, in his college days, so Eddie Redmayne definitely deserved the Oscar for that. I would have been okay to see Cooper take it home too, but...
Really, though, a well-deserved actor.
Yeah, definitely. And then we see that Julianne Moore took home her well-deserved Oscar for Best Performance.
Which I was very happy about. I think she's a very, very talented actress.
Oh, yeah.
And still Alice, all about Alzheimer's and everything.
Yeah.
Another just very heartfelt movie.
I had no idea that movie was about Alzheimer's. I thought it was just, somebody had kept telling me, like, every time I heard about that movie, they told me, oh, it's about a midlife crisis. And so I was like, okay, well, why is it getting so much hype? And then I learned last night what it was actually about, because this was like the one movie I didn't get to see. But
it's those movies where these actors and actresses are put into these roles where they really have to, change their mannerisms and take on, take on a disability, like, the ALS, like Stephen Hawking or things like that. So I'm always happy to see those actors be awarded with.
Me too.
An honor.
Exactly. And I was complaining, I was watching the Oscars with my boyfriend, and I was complaining because I was like, well, why do they leave Best Actor up to be right before the big award instead of Best Actress? But they did it differently this year, and they did Actor first, and then Best Actress, and then Best Picture, so I thought that was a little interesting.
Nice to see how they changed it.
Yeah, I think they were trying to, try to bandage some of those wounds that they definitely made with the nominations this year, because it's the whitest Oscars since 1998, and
people took note to that right away.
Yeah, especially with Neil Patrick Harris's comment.
Right.
At the very beginning, he says, "Welcome to the brightest and the whitest," and then he makes a little face. So it's just kind of, it was like a burn to the Academy, because...
And people knew.
People noticed, and also the very lack of woman power because literally all of the movies for Best Picture were about a man.
Man.
Yep. And only one was about a black man. So that just, it's a very, very concerning thing that I've noticed about the Academy, but hopefully that they took a hint to that. But without having to deal with all of that, Big Hero 6 took home the Oscar for the Best Animated Film of the Year.
Which I have not seen yet.
And it's very, very good. I thought that it was a pretty good Oscar contender just because it's a really meaningful movie, and it's not like a lot of other Disney movies that you see, and it's just really sad and happy, and you learn something out of it. But the other contender that I really thought might have gotten it was How to Train Your Dragon 2.
Yes.
Because another heartstring, just really sad movie. Very emotional movie. That movie's a roller coaster, and as they make more of those films, they're just going to get darker and darker.
Right.
So it's kind of interesting to see a kid's film.
And how far they can push their limits.
Right. And it's just, I almost like it that way. It's exposing children to things they might not know now, but it's just,
in a way they can handle it, kind of.
Yeah, it's very strange, but I mean, overall, I wasn't too upset about the Oscars.
Seems, and people were showing a lot of positive remarks on Twitter and everything, too. It seemed like a smooth, successful, award-winning night.
Yeah, I agree. And it was a lot of fun to watch. And
I agree.
I think that a lot of people thought the music performances saved the Oscars this year, and that might have been true because it was a lot more musical than usual, but
it keeps it entertaining.
Yeah, it was great. And the orchestra played things like Pure Imagination and Falling Slowly, and little tidbits like that, which were kind of cool, for people that really know music. So It was a little bit of something for everyone.
Definitely.
So I was pretty happy with the Oscars this year.
Me too.
Well, that's all we have for this episode of the Hollywood Update on Central Spotlight. Thanks for listening.
Hey everyone, welcome back to a brand new episode of RSO on the Spotlight. I'm your host, Alicia Bergio. Today I had the opportunity to sit down with the president of the organization Students for Autism Volunteering and Education. Jen Endelman gave me a little bit of insight about what this RSO is all about. Let's see what she had to say. So Jen, you're president of this new organization. What are your duties that are included with this title?
Well, mostly as president, I'm in charge of running meetings and keeping communication going with everyone in the chapter members and e-board members, and working on keeping events running. And our biggest role is, because we're newer, creating connections in the campus and community as well.
So definitely, yeah, it's a huge thing, yeah.
Written there.
Now, before we go any further, I want to know, what exactly is autism for those that are unfamiliar with this disability?
Autism is considered a developmental disability, and it's usually recognized at a younger age. It is a spectrum, so it varies from a low functioning to a high functioning end of the spectrum. And there are usually 3 key characteristics that are noted. Mostly social characteristics, so lack of social behaviors or lack of conversational skills may be noticed. And there may be kind of fixational behaviors or tasks, or very repetitive behaviors as well. So.
Okay, great. Thanks for clearing that up.
Hopefully that helps you.
Now, going off of that question, volunteering is obviously a key, essential part in this RSO. What kinds of activities or things like that do you volunteer for?
Our biggest thing is trying to help in the local community right now. So we're trying to host events, we hosted a Christmas event, so parents with their children from the local community could come to make cards and play activities and get to know each other, kind of. And we're also going to do a bowling event, so we're hosting it for the parents again in April to bring their children, and families can kind of come, make it a community thing, make it a social outing type gathering for everyone to just kind of mingle and hang out. And then we also do kind of small group volunteering activities. We're going to do another bowling social activity. Geez, got that one. And we also want to volunteer for specific families, like working with the kids one-on-one if possible. So
that's so great.
Yeah.
Do students that have autism, are these the ones that participate in these volunteer events and things?
We actually have connected with students from Mount Pleasant High School and volunteered with them through their own Aspire social group. We haven't really connected with any students on campus with autism, although that's one of our goals for the future.
Great.
Yeah.
Now, does SAVE make it a point to assist the students with autism here at CMU? Eventually, you guys want to do that, right?
Yeah, that's one of our goals eventually, and that might be something we can hook up with disability services to do. So one of our goals is to maybe make a transition from high school to college easier, do like a peer-to-peer program. So that's a long-term goal for us.
Right. Yeah. What is the main thing that SAVE primarily focuses on?
SAVE focuses on the education and awareness of the community and campus for autism. That's one of our biggest goals because it's something that's easily obtainable right now for us, is to get the word out basically and to talk about autism and make it a more socially relatable term. And we also want to volunteer for the community and give them opportunities and fundraise for them. So,
what is the best way that you guys spread the word about your organization?
as of right now, our best way is we've connected with Community Mental Health, and they have us on kind of resource list for parents just in case they need extra supports. We try to get our name out on campus. We try to host events and send out flyers. And that's it.
Okay. I'll definitely be sure to spread the word for you guys as well.
Great.
Now, do you have anything coming up in the future?
In the future, we actually plan to do an Autism Awareness Week, and that will be the beginning of April. And we're going to team up with Association for Future Speech Language Pathologists, the other RSO for that. Mm-hmm. So we want to do posters and fundraising tables in EHS and HP. And we want to have our Strikes for Autism bowling event that week. We want to try to host an autism discussion panel, a Wear Blue Day, which will be Thursday, April 2nd, to support autism because that is National Autism Awareness Day. And we want to do simple tasks like that. We also have hopefully a yoga event coming up for the campus.
Ooh,
to
fun.
do. Yeah, just relaxation techniques.
Yeah. Great.
So,
Sounds like you have a nice list going.
Hopefully, yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Now, I spoke to Shayna Boyle, the Student Government Association representative, and she said, and I quote, that this organization is constantly looking for new ideas and trying to find individuals that share the same passion. Is that true?
Yes, we definitely are. That is, we love new ideas, and it's great to get new perspectives. That's one of our biggest things, is getting students from different organizations and different backgrounds as well as different educational tracks. We have people from education, special education, communication disorders, recreational therapy, pre-PA. Everyone's involved in our organization, and we want to get new ideas and different perspectives. So.
Definitely. Yeah. Now, Jen, how can students join SAVE?
They can find us on OrgSync. They can also find us on Facebook at CMU SAVE, so it's SAVE with all the periods in between. And we have our general meetings every other Tuesday at 8 p.m. in Pierce 123A, and we have one coming up on March 3rd. So.
Great. And lastly, how can students get in contact with you if they have any questions whatsoever?
If they have any questions whatsoever, they can email me. My email is endel1j@cmu.edu, and they can contact anyone on eBoard. They can find us through OrgSync to contact us that way. So.
Okay. Anything else that you'd like to add about this organization?
We're really working to grow and spread our name, and we'd love new students and new perspectives, so it'd be great to see people join us.
Great. Thank you so much, Jen, for your time.
Thank you.
That's all for today's show. Make sure you tune in next week for a brand new episode of Our Selma Spotlight. See you next time.
Hello everybody, welcome to the Nerd Report. I'm your host, Dustin Drew.
And I'm your other host, Lindsay Schwalm. Today we will be delving into the wonderful world of anime. We have with us from the Central Anime Screening Society, the treasurer, Nathan Kochbauer. Hi Nathan, how are you?
Hi, how are you?
I'm good, how are you?
Doing pretty awesome over here. So, for the people out there that have no idea what anime is, what's anime?
Well, anime is a Japanese word. It's a loan word from English, and it's a shortening of animation. And in Japan, anime refers to any sort of animation. So, for instance, Bugs Bunny cartoons or Disney movies, those are called anime in Japan. But for the Western and American anime fandom, anime refers specifically to anime that is produced in Japan.
Which is a good thing to know, because I think, I mean, I knew the term, but I just thought it was a shortening of, animation. I didn't realize that it had originated from Japan itself, so.
Yeah.
Could you maybe describe to us, what's a typical meeting like for you guys? What do you guys do?
Well, typically we meet every Wednesday at 8 o'clock until 10 o'clock in Ansbach, room 162. That's a lecture hall with theater-style seating. And we typically screen 2 shows during every meeting, 2 episodes of each show. At the moment, we are watching The Devil is a Part-Timer and Psychopath, and
nice.
we will also start showing Gargantua of the Virtuous Planet shortly after this episode will air.
Do you remember, how did you first get into anime? Like, do you have a first anime or a first experience? How did you first get interested with the world of anime?
Well, I've found that I'm a bit unusual in this regard among anime fans, because most of the fans that I know, and many people who aren't even anime fans, grew up watching anime that was licensed in the West. Shows like Pokemon, Sailor Moon, Dragon Ball Z. I never watched any of those when I was a kid, and I did not start watching anime until college, when I was honestly just a little bored and looking for some new shows to watch. So I got a hold of my friend from high school that watched anime, and he gave me some recommendations. And the first show. Not the first show that I watched, but the first show that I really fell in love with was Azumanga Daioh, which is a slice of life comedy about a group of friends from an all-girls high school in Japan. And it's just a really sweet, charming, and very funny show.
Oh yeah, I can second that too. It's an awesome show. But speaking of gateway animes, or shows that you started off with, do you have anything that you would recommend to someone who has heard of it, or maybe has seen some anime, or maybe doesn't know anything about anime but wants to start? Like, do you have any recommendations for where could somebody start?
If you like animation and you're a fan of animation, this is just a way to expand your viewing of that. That being said, one anime that I would point out as a particularly good one for new viewers is Cowboy Bebop.
Agreed, for sure. Yeah.
Thumbs up.
It's an excellent show. It's episodic as opposed to some shows which have an overarching storyline. So you don't have to worry about having to watch through the whole thing if you just want to give it a try.
I think that's what a lot of people think of, that aren't experienced with it. Just in my experience, if I tell people that I'm watching, a certain anime, some people are kind of like cautious about it, or they just don't understand. I think the stereotype is, Pokemon or tentacle porn. There's
no in between with that.
Yeah.
Like with people that don't understand it.
I think people don't understand that there's a range, just like regular TV and shows. And I mean, have you found that to be the case, that there's just a wide range of subject matter?
Absolutely, yes. That the thing to keep in mind is that anime isn't really a specific genre. It's just referring to Japanese animation,
yeah.
Which just looking at American or European animation, that's incredibly broad.
Yeah.
So you have children's shows, psychological thrillers, slice of life shows that are just trying to depict normal everyday life in an entertaining manner.
Yeah.
Science fiction, fantasy, just really anything that you could be interested in. There's probably a show for it in anime.
Social media presence, where can we find you guys online if we want to look up more information, events, stuff you guys are planning? Where would be a good place to start looking?
Yes, we're the Central Anime Screening Society. You can look us up on Facebook, and our meetings are on Wednesdays from 8 to 10 p.m. In Ansbach Hall, room 162. We love to see new people there. I'm sure you'll find everyone to be very welcoming if you show up.
Excellent. That's really good to know. So definitely worth something checking out, guys. Central Anime Screening Society. And this, again, is the treasurer, Nathan Kaufbauer. So thank you so much for hanging out with us and sharing your knowledge.
You're awesome. High fives.
We really appreciate it.
It's a pleasure to be here.
So we will see you guys next week. We will be bringing you the latest up-to-date, up-to-the-minute news in the nerdy world. I'm your host, Lindsay Schwalm.
And I'm your other host, Dustin Drew.
And this has been the Nerd Report. Thanks for joining us.
Adios.
Hi guys, I'm Isis and I have your music minutes for this week. This week is a special segment because we have members of the program board to give you a little insight of what's coming up this week, the special concert, the band Perry. Take a look.
With that too, I mean, they just won a Grammy. They were just featured on New Year's Eve on Pitbull's new Rockin' Eve kind of thing that he had going on. So like they have national attention.
Oh, definitely.
They're definitely like a big band. This is probably the biggest group that we've had here in many years.
Okay.
We've had success with country. We are in Central Michigan. It is an area that is favorable to the country genre. When we had Lee Bryce here last year and we had Rodney Atkins a couple years back in 2011, just country's done well on our campus. Dan and Shay did well as the main stage opener, so we kept that in mind. This show, floor tickets started off at $35 at the start of this whole thing. So if you get there early, if you're a fan and you get there early and you line up at the door, you can potentially be in the very front, like reaching to the stage distance from the band Perry for $35.
Well, even our opener, Eric Pasley, I mean, he's got a strong following too, and he puts on a great show as well. He's got his own identity in the country world, and I mean, we talk a lot about the Van Perry, but he's definitely someone just on his own that would be worth, in my opinion, the $30 to $35 to get to go there. So,
if you don't have your tickets yet, be sure to get those tickets at cmich.edu/ticketcentral. You can get them right online, print them at home, and they're starting at $30. So it's a great opportunity to see a great show, just right here in Mount Pleasant. If you have general admission seating, make sure you get there early. The earlier you get there, closer to the stage you can get.
The doors open at 7.
Doors are open at 7 p.m. and the show will go on at 8. We look forward to an awesome concert experience. We're going to rock it out. CMU Program Board is here for you, and we're ready for some great entertainment.
And that's all I have for your music minutes this week. I'm Isis, and check out the concert this Saturday.